This is the Louis T. Network.
The Redskins Report.
Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report. As you can tell, pretty upbeat. It's almost Thanksgiving, time for family, food, faith, and of course, football. And I love it. This is my favorite time of the year, the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Could be a lot better. Of course, if the Redskins were in the thick of the NFC East race, I'd be a lot more happier. But hey, I'm not here to cry over spilt milk. As you can tell, I'm excited. And not just because it's the holiday season, because I've come to a place where I'm peaceful. I'm at peace with this Redskins season. What I've done is I've looked at this season for what it is. And, all of the distractions, all of the noise, we're not a good football team. Our organization seems to be crumbling right before our very eyes. The media is tearing us to shreds. They're just throwing in jab after jab after jab. 1 minute they're poking at, Josh Morgan because he's not playing. 1 minute, Robert Griffin III's dad is in the locker room, so they're bringing that to attention. Oh, the offensive linemen aren't helping Robert Griffin III up, so now that's going to be an issue. If it's not one thing, it's the other. At this point, you, probably like myself, are just tired. You're just tired. It wears you down. It wears you out. And it's bad enough that you're losing. Do you really need to be kicked while you're down? They're just piling on top of us now. And honestly, I've come to a point where I'm at peace. I'm calm. Everything is serene. It's quiet in my mind. Outside the noise, it's loud. I can barely hear myself talk. But in my mind, it's quiet. It's nice and quiet. And I don't hear anything. And I've come to that point where I'm at peace with this season. You know what I told myself to get me to that peaceful, quiet place? You know what I said? This season was necessary. It's a necessary evil. Now, why did I say that? Why is this season a necessary evil? It's never okay to lose. It's never necessary to lose. Unless you have to do it because it has to happen. And here's why we had to lose. Robert Griffin III needed to be humble. Had to be. He had to be humble. And I talked about this last season with Cam Newton. And I had already said that I thought Andrew Luck, I thought Robert Griffin III, and I thought Russell Wilson would all struggle this year. Now, Andrew Luck and Robert Griffin III probably struggled a little bit more so than Russell Wilson has, but nonetheless, Russell Wilson also has a better team, a better football structure around him, and so hence he's not struggling as much as the other two. But you look at the second season, and it's always going to be tougher than your first, a lot of times, for most players. I mean, what we saw last year from these quarterbacks, extraordinary. Never seen it before in our lives, may never see it again. I mean, these guys came and took the NFL by storm, all of them making the postseason, all of them elevating the levels of their teams to the likes of which they haven't seen in years. And so from that perspective, I mean, these guys came in and got it done. Probably exceeded some of the expectations that a lot of us put on the table for them when they were drafted out of college. So, I mean, to expect them to do what they did a season ago, hard to repeat that. Russell Wilson, again, he has a better team, better defense, better structure around him, better supporting cast. He's able to do exactly what he did and then some this year. But for Andrew Luck, he's going to win a division. His team is probably going to make the postseason. Not probably, they're going to make the postseason. But again, they play in a terrible division, and the Colts are playing better football. And they have guys around him to help. But now that Reggie Wayne is out, they're going to struggle, and you're going to see some of the ill effects from that injury. But forget about all of that. This is about the Redskins. This is about Robert Griffin III and why this is needed to happen. And essentially what I've said to myself is that I looked at Cam Newton's situation last year. his second year, his sophomore year. You could call it a sophomore slump if you like, but I called it more of a sophomore malaise, where he didn't really slump. You look at his numbers, they weren't that bad. They probably weren't that far off from his rookie season. Again, his rookie campaign was phenomenal, one for the ages. But you look at his sophomore year, and the record wasn't, that much better. They were one game better. He was 6-10 in his rookie season, 7-9. But he went through a lot of criticism. They were ripping him to shreds in the media. And, they were talking about him being selfish and how he's a sore loser. He's a poor sport, yada, yada, yada. And I got on Cam about listening to all of the external forces and not listening to the guys and the people around you that matter. And all he needed to do was block out all of the media that was telling him this and saying that about him. And he needed to focus in on being the best Cam Newton that he could be. And part of that process was understanding that, hey, you have God-given tools that no one else possesses. Use them. You're 6'5", you're 240, you run a 4.6 40, and you're a load to bring down. If it's not there, you got a cannon on your right arm, throw it. If it's not there, though, and you don't like what you see, run! And that's what he started to do. And last year, in his sophomore year, he tried to prove to people that, hey, I'm not just a black quarterback that can run. I can throw it too. But you don't have anything to prove to anyone. You go out and you make plays as you see fit. If you think that running for 8 yards on 3rd and 7 is what your team needs at that time, do it. If you think staying in the pocket, hanging into the last second, taking a shot and delivering the football down the field is what you need to do for your team to succeed, do it. Whatever it takes, you use your God-given tools to get it done. And so he went through a little bit of a period where it was tough on him. Everybody was piling on him. And again, when you're used to winning all your life and you're not winning and people are starting to call you out because of it, it's tough. And he went through a period and he got past that period and he's a better player and a better person because of it. And it always helps when you have a mentor and you're willing to listen to them. Warren Moon has been mentoring Cam Newton since the day he set foot in this league. Warren Moon understands what it means to be a black quarterback in the National Football League and what it's going to take for you to succeed. There's always going to be detractors, people trying to pull you down. You can't give them the ammunition to which to do so. And so Cam took all of the knowledge and soaked it all in from Warren Moon, and look at Cam now. He's a leader on that team. He's got the S on his chest. He's got the C on his jersey. He's the man in Carolina, and he's the reason why this team is playing extremely well. Of course, it doesn't hurt that you've got a top 5 defense right there next to you, but Cam, that team in Carolina is only going to go as far as Cam Newton is going to take them. And so I look at the struggles of Cam Newton and the maturation of Cam Newton, and I look and I say, that's going to be Robert Griffin III. He needed to go through this because in Cam's first year, guess what? Everything came too easy to Cam. I mean, he went out there first game as a pro, 400 yards passing. They lose the game, but man, did he put up some stellar numbers. And so you look at that and you say, man, Cam is really lighting up. Second game of his career, 400 yards passing again. Never been done in NFL history until Cam Newton has done it. And so you see the success, over 4,000 yards passing. 20-something touchdowns that he was responsible for, like 16 rushing, another 19 or so passing. I mean, the guy was a machine. And you look at those numbers and everything just came easy to him. The only thing that was omitted in that season was winning. And the defense just wasn't good. The offense was scoring a bunch of points. Defense wasn't stopping anybody, so they lost games. So he expected it to be that easy every year. Teams make adjustments. They have film on him now. And it's not as easy. Bad play calling doesn't help. And next thing you know, Cam is struggling. Team is struggling. They had huge expectations. They came into the year talking about how they were going to go to the Super Bowl. And they were 6-10. 7-9. And it was a struggle. But he got through that. And it made him better. And so I look at Robert Griffin III. Everything came easy to him in his rookie season. I mean, he set all types of records, and I mean, the 5 interceptions, the 20 touchdowns. We're talking about a 4-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. That's unheard of for a rookie. I mean, lowest interception total for a rookie in NFL history with only 5. I mean, the guy, he set all kinds of records. I mean, over 60% completion percentage. Nobody else was doing that last year. Russell Wilson did it. But I felt like we asked a lot out of Robert, and he delivered for us last season. I mean, we went into New Orleans, scored 40 points. We were averaging close to 30 points a game last season. I mean, this offense was on fire, and the reason it was because of Robert Griffin III. He became an overnight sensation. And all of that success went to his head, as it should have. But again, you have to stay grounded. You have to stay humble. And at some points, you can see Robert starting to smell himself a little bit. So I knew that there was going to be some repercussions from that rookie season because he was going to expect that same type of success. Now teams have a whole offseason to prepare for you. They have film so that they can watch it and see what adjustments they need to make. Those coaches that are close to college coaches are going to pick up the phone, call up some of their buddies. Hey, how do you stop this read option? They're going to give them info and tips on how best to stop the read option, what keys to look for. So they're going to make adjustments. It's going to be tougher. And not to mention the man is coming off of essentially total knee reconstruction. So you add all of those factors together, he was set up for a tough season. Not for failure, because he still could have succeeded. He was set up for a tough season. He was going to have to really be better than he was in his rookie season just to have the same impact that he had in his rookie year, if you think about it, because of all of the different factors that were going to be against him coming into his sophomore campaign. So you can understand why this season went the way it did. You couple in, and look, I don't like making excuses, but you couple in the $36 million cap hit, another $18 million out of our pocket. We're not able to go out and get free agents. We don't have draft picks because we had to go and get Robert Griffin III and get our franchise QB. So we don't have a first round pick. And that hurts because you're not working with elite talent guys that can come in and start right now. Essentially, when you get a second rounder, it takes time. You know, first rounders, you expect them to come in and go right now. Maybe a second rounder as well, but for the most part, first rounders, that's where you expect them to be able to come in and start right away. After that, all bets are off. And so no first round pick, no money to spend on free agents. You essentially come back with the same team. Keep in mind, even though this team went 10-6 last year, this was the same team that started the season 3-6 as well. So I hate when people try to act as if this team was all world last year and we were 12-4 and we were dominant from start to finish. This was a bad team early in the season. Even though we were competitive, we were 3-6, okay? And the record doesn't lie. It states exactly what you are, and we were a 3-6 football team. And then we got hot. The defense was bad last year. The offense was really good. The special teams was solid. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad either. They didn't give up plays, but they didn't make any plays. They were solid. And so this year, we're not forcing turnovers. Last year, we forced an abundance of turnovers. Plus 17 in the turnover differential will win you a boatload of football games. This year, we're struggling with the turnover differential. We're turning it over way more than we are getting turnovers and forcing them. So we have issues all over the place. Special teams, one of the worst in the league. You couple that with a defense that can't stop teams and an offense that's anemic at times, that falls off the table. One week you're scoring 45. The next week you're scoring on 5 consecutive possessions. The next week you can't get it done in 3 quarters of football and look like one of the worst offenses in the league. The next week you go and you don't score a touchdown at all in a whole game. So we got an inconsistent offense, and a lot of that stems from Robert Griffin III. And again, I think he needed to be humble. I think everything has come easy to him over this stretch, and he needed to be reminded that you aren't Superman, you're human, and you can be humbled. You will be humbled. Take this slice of humble pie, sit down, and shut up. And so the media's been dumping on him, and he deserves it. He's brought it on himself. This guy took some mammoth shots on Monday night against the 49ers. Some of them should have been flagged for personal foul. But when you go into your press conference and you say to the officials, hey, I duped you into calling a personal foul on the opponent, thanks. What do you think is going to happen the next time you're out there and you get walloped after the whistle, or you get walloped after you throw the football, you get driven into the ground? You don't get a flag call because you've already set the precedence. You've already went out and ran your mouth to the media and saying, hey, yeah, I duped the officials into calling a flag there, they're not going to give you anything after that. Nobody wants to be shown up. And that's why you talking so much is going to get you into trouble. And so you see this press conference, he chose his words wisely. And so he's starting to realize, I'm saying too much, I'm doing too much, and then I need to scale it back a little bit. I need to reel it in, and I just need to focus in on football. And I think he'll get better. This was necessary. And so I'm not even going to talk about the 49ers game. There's no reason to. I didn't take any notes because I knew we were going to get our asses handed to us. I knew that going into the game. Again, I'm a Redskins fan, and I'm pre-programmed to think the worst, hope for the best, as you should. If you're not, then you need to wake up, smell the coffee, and get with the program because this team isn't any good, simply put. And they're a defeated team now. They expect to lose on every given Sunday. They expect to lose. So it's our job to go with the flow. Expect to lose, expect the worst, hope for the best. Hey, root for the team, hope that they win, but know in the back of your mind, we're probably not going to win the football game. Now, I think we have a legitimate shot at beating the Giants. They're not a good team. They're just as bad as we are. But their record indicates that they're just slightly better than us. They're 4-7, we're 3-8. So expect the Giants to win, but hope that we can take care of business. But after the performance that you just saw at home versus the 49ers, and again, granted, the Giants aren't the 49ers. The Giants defense isn't the 49ers defense. The Giants aren't as good as the 49ers. Doesn't matter. We lost to a 2-8 Minnesota Vikings football team. So what does the records matter? It doesn't. We can be dominated and had by any team in this league. We're not good enough to say that we're better than anyone. And so we should be able to beat the Giants. We can beat the Giants, but will we beat the Giants? Probably not. Probably not. But we were dominated in every facet of the game against the 49ers. We didn't execute. Guys ran bad routes. The depth on routes were terrible. Robert missed open receivers once again. Guys are stopping their routes too early. Miscommunication. Robert expects the guy here, they're there. We're just not in sync offensively. I thought the defense gave us a chance. You look at the scoreboard and it says 27-6. I challenge you to watch the football game and realize that the Redskins defense gave us a shot. I mean, the score was 10-6 at the half. The Redskins defense forced a turnover on the opening possession for the 49ers in the third quarter, gave the offense the football at midfield, and they did nothing with it. Matter of fact, they gave it to them in San Francisco 49ers territory. This defense gave us opportunities, and this offense failed miserably and let the whole team down. So this was a collaborative effort to fail. Once again, special teams, anemic, giving up huge plays on the punt return game. And I'll give the special teams a little bit of credit. They were able to run onto the field and get the field goal before the half with no timeout. So that was good execution on their part. But again, this team isn't good. And so we find ourselves just hoping that this season fast forwards to the end so we can get it over with, get our cap space back, and be players in free agency and try to get this team back in the right direction. This was needed. We needed to take a step back. Robert needed to be humbled because I think he thought this was going to be a cakewalk, and his ego needs to be in check. It'd be nice if he listened to people once in a while, other than his dad and his mom. It'd be nice if he took some advice from a veteran, from an ex-black quarterback in this league like Cam Newton did with Warren Moon. It'd be nice if he had someone to give him some tutelage like Donovan McNabb has been trying to do when he's been shunning him. It'd be nice if he listened to someone every once in a while and not try to pretend as if he's the smartest person in the room. That'd be nice, but again, you can't force anyone to do anything. But I know one thing, losing will humble your behind. Losing will humble the most egotistical person in the world because there's nothing worse than losing, especially when you've been a winner your whole entire life. When someone comes up and tells you you're a loser and you can't do anything about it because you look at the record and the record reflects that you are in fact a loser, there's nothing you can do about it. And losing humbles us all. There's nothing like losing to humble even the most egotistical person in the world. And so Robert right now is being humbled. And there's nothing wrong with that. It needed to happen, as a matter of fact. Cam Newton last year was humbled. It happens to everyone. You got to be humbled at some point. Peyton Manning came into this league And right away, 2-14, humbled. He knew, okay, can't get any worse than that. I've got to play better. You get humbled quickly. Tom Brady was humbled before he even stepped on the field. 6th round pick. Humbled. Humbled. You think you're this hotshot quarterback from Michigan? Get drafted in the 6th round. That'll change your perspective quickly. Humbled. Everybody gets humbled. Aaron Rodgers comes into the league and he thinks he's the first overall pick in the draft. He thinks he's better than Alex Smith. What happens to him? Humbled. Doesn't get drafted until like number 24. Humbled. Then he has to sit down behind Brett Favre for about 3 or 4 seasons. Humbled. Everybody has to be humbled, and they find a way to be humbled in their own special way. But at some point, you as a quarterback are humbled. Happens to the best of them. And so Robert is taking his medicine. You remember, we all had to take that nasty medicine. Remember, it comes in a brown bottle, and it tastes like garbage. Humbled. It's time to take that medicine. Take it. Shut up. Don't complain. Don't mope about it. Take your medicine and shut up. It's good for you. And we're taking our dose of medicine right now. We took the $36 million cap hit, the penalty. That was some medicine. We took Robert struggling, got injured. We took the medicine. The media is piling up on us. Take the medicine. Everybody in Redskins Nation, take the medicine and shut up. Don't worry about it. They're going to pile on us. They're going to make fun of us. Take the medicine. Take it. We'll be better because of it. And when we turn this thing around next year, we'll see who's laughing then. But take the medicine. It's good for you. Right now, our organization is sick. Take the medicine. And after we take the medicine and everything clears up, we get our cap space back, we have another draft. And look, we can't go and blow this thing up. That's not going to help anything. Shanahan needs to be back, both of them. Jim Haslett, I'd love to see him back. But again, there's going to be a sacrificial lamb because of this season. Other than Keith Burns. There's going to be a sacrificial lamb. Maybe Jim Haslett is that guy. I hope they don't make a scapegoat out of Jim Haslett, because I feel like with the cupboard being as bare as it is in D.C., he did as much as he could with the tools that he was given. He didn't have enough tools to get the job done, and he made do with what he had. And so I'm not mad at Jim Haslett. I want Jim Haslett back. I want both of the Shanahans back. They got to be better. Everybody's got to be better. And I think how we finish up this season is going to tell a lot as to who will be back and who won't be back. If we look like we did on Monday for the rest of the season, then I don't think Shanahan will be back, because we looked like a JV team playing against the varsity. We looked like we were outmatched, outmanned, and we looked like a team that was unprepared to play a football game. We wasted timeouts. We ran wrong routes. Guys weren't on the same page. We just looked perplexed. We looked confused. We looked like a team that was ill prepared. No excuses for that. None. So the rest of this season will determine who will be back next year. And if we finish up this season strong, guys play hard for Mike Shanahan, which I assume they will. I hope that he's back. I hope that Kyle's back. I hope that Jim Haslett's back. We got to get a new special teams coach. Keith Burns isn't cutting it for me. He's got to go. But I think I want everybody back, and I want everybody to take their dose of medicine, and I'm ready to move on from this year. And like I said, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready for, meaningless football in November, but that's what we're essentially been reduced to. Nothing matters anymore, but you still want this team to finish up strong. You still want to see the fight, and guys, you still want to be able to say, hey, we beat the Cowboys once this year. You still want to be able to say, hey, we took care of the Giants. We already been swept by the Eagles. Can't do anything about that. But we still can affect the Giants. We still can affect the Cowboys. We still have a say-so in this division. So let's let our voice be heard. So let's finish up this season strong. So we'll see. We'll see what this team does. We'll see what this team is made of. We'll see what the mental makeup of this team. But my message to everyone out there that's a Redskins fan is simply this. Take your medicine. Swallow it. Don't sit there and play with it. Don't spit it out. Take your medicine. Smile. get better, we'll be back. We'll be back. I'm not fazed by any of this. I don't get caught up in all the media hoopla. Oh, Robert doesn't want his bad plays to be shown in front of the team. What are we in? High school? I mean, what is this? I don't even talk about stuff like that because I don't even give it merit. I just find it hard to believe. So I'm not even entertaining that. Take your medicine. Get well. We'll be back next year. And the season's not over. We still got 5 games to play. But we're not a good football team. And that has been proven time and time again. Make the best and make do with what you have. Move on. And I expect us to do that. And I expect us to be a solid football team come next season. But right now, take your medicine. Let the media say what they're going to say. Let them point fingers and hope that these guys keep all of their issues in-house, that they forge together as a team, and they continue to play football for one another inside that locker room. They fight, and they get ready for the rest of this season and into the offseason, and that's all you can do. And so I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. My Redskins spirit will never fold until we meet again. Hail to the Redskins. Not much for me to talk about here. No recap here. It's not necessary. We were thoroughly dominated at home on Monday night, which drops us to 2-12 all time at FedEx Field on Monday night, which is the worst in the National Football League. We've got to be better. Simply put, we have to be better on prime time. Here we are again, another primetime game. I don't know how we didn't get flexed out of Sunday Night Football against the Giants. Both teams are bad, have nothing to play for, yet we're still on Sunday night, which tells you Robert Griffin III is still must-see TV. So that'll do it for me here on the program. I thank you for joining me. I will see you next time. Hail to my beloved Redskins. Take your medicine. Shut your mouth.
The Redskins Report.